the lovely and talented Dr. Henri Monteith Treadwell, and she is the niece of Dr. Monteith, one of the charter board members of the Columbia Arbor Lake. So we would like to know, why did your uncle become a vital part of the Columbia Arbor Lake?
My uncle was raised in a family that was committed to civil rights, human justice, social justice. And so it was just natural that he would follow his mother's steps, who founded a school for African American and Negroes back in the early days when there
Mm-hmm.
were no schools. And he just stepped up to do his part. He not only was a charter member of the Urban League, but he also was one of the founding members of the Victory Savings Bank
Mm-hmm.
because economics is important. But the Urban League is an agency that helps to bring it all together,
Mm-hmm.
the educational opportunities, job training, nutrition, in essence, being a voice for many whose voices are not heard, who are not deemed to have a message. And he was a man of influence. He was a physician and he worked across the city. His sister, Majeska Simpkins, was a civil rights activist known throughout the nation. My mother filed a civil rights suit for equal pay for teachers
Mm-hmm.
in Richland County. So, in some ways, we all had a role. We all had a job to
Mm-hmm.
do. And when I say we, then I came as a part of a next
Mm-hmm.
generation and was one that integrated the University of South Carolina. So I think my uncle and his example
Mm-hmm.
was something that inspired us and inspired us as family. And we've never really been able to get rid of the sense of advocacy. I work now with programs, particularly with a focus on boys and men of color.
Mm-hmm. Which is
Particularly,
extremely important.
yes, we know that we are losing too many of our young men of color, women too, to the criminal justice system.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to turn that around. Urban leagues are working and trying to pull things back, but we need more people to get
Mm-hmm.
engaged. And so I, in my career now, am basically focused on how do we get people back from the edge of danger, even if they've already crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
Can we bring them home
Mm-hmm.
and make a safe place for them? And Urban League is very important there because it offers the programs. Not many places offer job training,
No.
educational degrees, how to eat, how to budget, how to dress, how to do all of the things that, maybe once upon a time we took it for granted that you get all these things at home, and maybe you do, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe you forget.
There are a
Maybe
number
you,
of people who do not.
we have to admit that
Yes,
they do
ma'am.
not. So we have to say, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why we need our urban leagues and why I'm so proud that my uncle played such a major role in helping to ensure that this institution was not only founded, but that it stays here.
Mm-hmm.
And now and then I make small contributions and probably should do more in the future because urban leagues also need resources to
They do.
operate.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm hopeful that whatever role I can play and others can play, we have to remember it's up to all of us. And it brings me back to the family theme.
Mm-hmm.
My family
Your legacy.
work, yes.
Yes, ma'am. You have a legacy. You're a living legacy,
The,
actually.
well, I have been fortunate, blessed to be able to do a part,
Mm-hmm.
my part. And I think all of us, each of us, anyone in our community has a role to play. Sometimes I think, you hear people say, oh, I can't do anything about it. And that's simply not the way to approach the
Not
world
at
we
all.
live in. We can say years and years and years ago, we might have said, we can't ever get away from slavery or
Mm-hmm.
discrimination. We've come a long way. Are we
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the road? No.
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee an end of the road. I foresee that when things are over for us, there are other populations in the world, and we must be concerned about them too. I can tell you stories about my uncle bringing boxes of clothes and things that were shipped to South Carolina
Mm-hmm.
to him.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go through them and separate. I was a young child.
Mm-hmm.
We'd separate them and get them to the people in Clarendon County
Mm-hmm.
in the school fights. food, we'd separate it, package it, send it on. And I was too young to really understand it all,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew it was important,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew he was bringing those boxes off the back of his truck for us to organize it. So it was not just an urban league. It was many other things that he did, but it's all in the same vein.
Mm-hmm.
It's all helping
It's
those.
all cohesive.
Yes, and deciding that we are all joined together.
Mm-hmm.
We can't live one without the other.
What do you think was your uncle's most valuable? Everything is valuable, but what do you think stands out the most about his contributions to the Columbia Urban Lake?
You know, in those days, it really required someone who was willing to take a risk
Mm-hmm.
and to put their name, their reputation, and their resources on the line.
Mm-hmm.
When people were going to jail in the marches, he was going to bail people out. All of that using his funds. That's a part of Urban League activism activity. But I would say the main thing is it's not an event, but putting himself on the
Mm-hmm.
line. Because not everybody might have listened to Mr. So and so.
Mm-hmm.
But when Dr. Henry Monteith said, I support this organization and what is happening is needed, people might want to leave it alone,
Mm-hmm.
let it go. Because he is a man of stature
Mm-hmm.
in our community, a man who is respected. And he was a man, I can't say enough about the bank because, urban leagues require people who come, who need things.
Yes, ma'am.
Banks provide the resources so
Mm-hmm.
they can keep their homes,
Mm-hmm.
so they can buy cars. Things that just couldn't happen. An urban league can teach you how to budget, but
Mm-hmm.
then someone has to give you access to credit.
Exactly.
And so I think I learned, and I work this way now from my family and from my uncle as leader, that you have to blend these things together. You can't be a one note social
Mm-hmm.
activist. You have to have a melody.
Mm-hmm.
And the melody, I think, is what an urban league brings. And that whole idea of my uncle making it a safe space,
Mm-hmm.
making it a place where people would not reach in and bother it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say my uncle, I want to hasten to say there are many people who make an organization whole. But it also takes one to stand, and then others may decide, I'll stand with you. If you'll stand, I'll stand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he did. And I think we need a lot more of, we call him Uncle Buddy. We need more Uncle Buddies today that just say, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to make a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
And he did. One of the things that I like to share is related to my going to the University of South
Mm-hmm.
Carolina.
Because you were one
I
of
was the
first
first woman
to integrate.
ever
Yes,
to
ma'am.
go to the university, and I was
Woman
one
of
of
color.
three. First woman of color.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, let's be clear.
Let's be clear. The first
I
woman of
own
color.
that. I own color.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I went to court, the only people were afraid to go. And my uncle's wife went with us that day. He was not able to attend, but his wife went with us. People were afraid.
Mm-hmm.
People were very afraid that there would be some repercussions, but he was not. And the fact that his wife was there meant he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And we were really, I felt protected.
Mm-hmm.
And as some will know, when the dynamite was thrown to try to scare us off, they threw the dynamite in his yard.
Mm-hmm.
And we all had a good laugh because Uncle Buddy got the dynamite and we were across the street. But it was not without risk
Mm-hmm.
to do the things that he stood for, and perhaps some of the things that many in the family stood
Mm-hmm.
for, with many people supporting us. I have
Mm-hmm.
to always say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I say it because we can't allow people to go out and speak for us and not support them. That's a part of what's missing today. Part of the missing ingredient is, where is everybody?
Mm-hmm. Everybody complains, but no one backs up that complaint with action.
Exactly. And we have so many. I go back to my work with young men of color,
Mm-hmm.
men of color. We've seen this march going into criminal justice systems, jails, prisons,
Mm-hmm.
and the silence is deafening. And we can change it. We really could change it.
Yes, ma'am.
We just haven't decided that we want to yet. But I work on this. I have two sons, and they're fine. But there are a lot of sisters and brothers out there whose sons are not fine.
Mm-mm.
And I don't have to work on that issue, but I want to. It's my duty, it's my job.
And it's your calling. You're
Yes.
truly doing God's work.
And it's a part of, I think, what my uncle and others have given to me, the gift of just hang in there, keep
Mhm.
doing it. So that's where we are.
You have truly blessed me today. I think by far this has been the most tear jerking, powerful, very, very powerful dialogue that I have had in a long time with many
Thank you.
people. It has made my life more purposeful for what I do, whether what are the multiple businesses that I have, but it has made my reasoning, my being more purposeful. And I appreciate you sitting down and talking with me today.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
wish all the best for the Urban League and for you.
Yes, ma'am.
You're doing great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So once again, I'm here with the lovely, talented, she's a living legacy, Dr. Henri Monteith Treadwell, and we have found out more about the history, the legacy of the Columbia Arbor Lake, the very beginnings of empowering communities and changing lives.